guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with T or Draw with Tay. We are still waiting for enough comments to decide the name. Man, I'm starting to think we might go all the way to like 100, 200 episodes before I get enough feedback on that, but that's okay, because I'm mainly just making these videos for myself, if I'm honest. I mean, I do enjoy sharing them, but probably wouldn't keep with it for very long if I didn't enjoy doing it myself. The audio part, it's a little time consuming, and I was thinking actually, would you guys prefer no commentary? Would it be better if I sped these videos up a bit more and just had some music to them? I mean, the talking part seemed really cool, but now I'm starting to think, how much am I gonna have to say after 100 or so episodes? Because I'm planning on going pretty far. I want to record every sketchbook page that I can. So we still got a lot more to go. This is a 100-page sketchbook. I think I maybe had 10, maybe 15 pages filled up before I started recording. So that's a good amount to fill. What, 85, something like that. So today I am drawing hippogriffs and sort of griffin-like creatures, but mainly hippogriffs. So after all of my drawing animals, finally I've come back to drawing fantasy animals. And to be honest, really glad that I actually went off and put a little bit of time into studying the various animals that make up a hippogriff or a griffin. Obviously, it wasn't enough to master them, but it was enough to freshen up any skills that I had, because I kind of knew a little bit about horse hooves before I was drawing this, but I kind of forgot because it was like a year since I last drew this character. And as I've said before, I'm not an animal artist, despite all that I've been drawing on camera personally has been animal art. That's just kind of how it is. When I suck at something and I need to not suck at it, I will practice until I don't suck. So man, I kind of forgot my my original thought there. I'm glad that I went off and I did the studies. I could obviously do more, but I think that's something I'll do in the future. Just because I've actually got like about 20 characters or so that I do have to do concept art for, and things in terms of writing are in the early stages, so things can still shift. I don't want to put too much time into one character and then suddenly just upgrade as an artist or have things massively change, and then I have to change the character a lot. So I'm kind of just trying to get some decent solid concepts, and then like come back to them, because inevitably I find if I put something down for a bit and I come back to it, I've learned some more, in terms of how to draw better and just more knowledge in my skull, and then I suddenly make a better character. So here I'm doing kind of a mix of kind of just my own thoughts on hippogriffs, and I'm also referring to Pinterest for some ideas of poses and how some other people have done hippogriffs. There is a page that didn't get recorded where I was drawing hippogriffs. I touched on it in the last episode. Basically, I just didn't hit record, but I'd drawn this rushed page of hippogriffs. And for that, I was looking at just nature art. So I was just looking at horses and birds and cats, and I was trying to put them all together myself. And I found that to be really hard because I was rushing it, and I really shouldn't have been. Something like that I really should have given a lot more time for. But I got a day job. I got a lot of other things on my plate, so it's sometimes I just have to, if I want to draw, it's got to be in a rush time frame. But the other thing was that I really didn't think about the complications of trying to smash random bird, horse, and cat art together without actually doing a mashup. Like just looking at 3 different pictures, first of all, selecting the 3 different pictures, remembering them, referring between them as I'm doing a single image. It just really didn't go well, and there were, I made attempts, so it's like, okay, well, I'll draw a horse and I'll just alter, I'll add wings onto it and change the face, and that didn't seem right. And then, I tried adding some cat features, using a cat as a base, and that didn't feel right. And then I tried doing like a bird in flight and adding kind of a back end to it, like a horse's back end. That really didn't turn out good at all. The posing was probably the best of all of them, but not often do you see a horse's back end flying through the sky, so I was just kind of making it up. I didn't really have reference for horses at that angle, and I didn't have time to find it. Pinterest is a great, amazing resource, but when you've got like 20 to 30 minutes and you gotta use all of that to just fill a page, it's you can only do so much in 30 minutes, including your research, your setup, your recording, packing up, that sort of stuff. Yeah, right here I'm 100%, this is not from my mind, this is actually like a really beautiful piece on Pinterest that I had found as I was searching, that I immediately added to my my pin board, and it was really helpful in just helping me understand the wings and like how the bits could fit together. It's been kind of hard trying to find hippogriff art that is not just Buckbeak, like that specific movie design of Buckbeak from Harry Potter. I've got nothing against that design. It's not personally my favorite, but I got nothing against it. It's just a little hard trying to draw a hippogriff when you have literally this one massively famous hippogriff, and 80 to 90% of the art that seems to exist for hippogriffs is just this one concept and this one take on, what a hippogriff can be, and then, trying to find the other art. Yeah, there is other art, but it feels like there's so little of it, it's just hard to make it work. It's the only way I can explain it. It's just like there's not enough images, which is weird. I never thought I'd run into that problem on the internet, but for this I did. But for this page, I did find some good studies. I had been kind of keeping a file, putting it together on Pinterest, keeping my eye out for stuff, and I, just finally gathered some good pieces. And I was having a good draw day, I think. And I was paying particular attention to the back legs of what I was drawing, because horse legs, they're still a little strange to me, especially when you get down to the ankle and the hooves. There's a little kind of claw thing in the original art here that I also drew in my version. I thought that was a really cool idea. That was something I've been trying to integrate into my own designs. Just thinking of ways of how to make it look less like the back end of a horse has been stapled on to the butt of a bird, because that seems to be one of the more classic approaches to a hippogriff. And I've seen, obviously there's Buckbeak, which is mostly horse proportions with, kind of claws instead of hooves at the front. But the front feet are very horse-like, the body's horse-like, even the head is very horse-like, but it's like a horse with a beak, which is interesting, but not what I need in my story. I need a very emotive character, and what my needs of what the character had to do was informing the, what I was paying attention to here and what I was thinking of even as I'm drawing other people's art. I'm thinking, okay, would I draw the head this way? Maybe, maybe not, because I need a character that can smile, that can frown, that can growl, that can pick things up with their front claws, at points maybe rise up on their back feet and seem kind of human-like. So a very, emotive cartoon character that, might not be able to speak, but is, I suppose, kind of like a lot of the horses tend to be in Disney movies, where, some of them aren't like super anthropomorphic, but then you get a lot of them which are quite charismatic in their own right, even though they might not speak. They speak through their gestures, and that's definitely what I wanted. So here I was kind of struggling with the hinds of horses again, specifically that where the hoof and the ankle kind of meet with the rest of it. And here I was kind of trying to come up with ideas. This is where, even though the art is looser, maybe even crappier, I was suddenly, I was in my element, thinking things through, trying things out. How much can I exaggerate the hoof and the ankle? Is it going to seem, should I make it look slight? Should I make it look big? And then I was just trying to draw it fast on purpose, trying to move past the realism, trying to get swooping lines. The more you draw something, the more comfortable you are with it, the more you understand it, and then you start using fewer lines, it looks less scratchy. That's basically what I was just trying to do here, just trying things out, trying to understand how I could make it look like a cartoon. And now here I'm probably searching up something else, something new. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. This page, I've slightly forgotten this page because of there's some stuff coming up that's really cool because of this page, but because of it, it's blurred together a bit in my mind, and now I can't quite remember what it is that I was drawing here. Yes. So I was drawing more horse hind legs again. I was looking at kind of ways of thinking about it, because they're kind of spindly, and then I realized there's sort of this, swollen balloon point at the end that, it's kind of the precursor to the hoof. So that, I think, helped me, and then I started formulating ideas. I think at this point I started to focus heavily on the hind leg. And here I'm going back to just drawing a horse's hoof, just to remind myself, okay, remember you did a whole page of these. This is kind of how you do it. This is how it tends to look. And then I was starting to explore the idea of what about little side claws? Maybe they're sort of three-toed griffins, or maybe they've got some kind of hind dew claw, something of that sort. Just again, like I said, kind of homogenize the creature, make it look less like two things got smashed together. It's cool, that can look really cool. I do like how centaurs and stuff look, but that's not really the look I want for in my story, in my my fantasy story. So, and I debated about just doing something totally unique, something that wasn't really in our mythology, but because there's a lot of tropes and stuff that I'm playing with in my story, it's what? Yeah, let's just have hippogriffs and griffins. Nothing wrong with that. I'll just do them a little bit differently. And then here I'm just kind of doing some gesture work. Again, kind of what is a horse? What does it look like when a horse is rearing up on its hind legs, but the front of it is a bird, and so then you have the bird wings, which are traditionally like the arms of the bird, and then their actual feet are like their hind legs, but in this case they're going to be the four claws of the what would be the horse end. This one actually kind of reminds me of heraldry, which is fun. I actually studied a tiny bit of heraldry some years ago, not really enough to know my terms or to know the history. I just kind of looked up the styles, learned a few of the terms which I've now forgotten, and did a very, very loose project based on it, just a personal project, and something I want to return back to eventually, but there's actually kind of a lot of stuff that that I want to return to. I mean, that's just kind of the life of an artist. There's more to draw than can ever be drawn, and you want to draw it all. So after I drew that, then I realized that I hadn't really settled on a tail design for my griffins, and the one I'm drawing right now is sort of the classic thing that I had been going with the character, but then I thought, well, I got some options. I can do some horse tails, I can do some straight up bird tails, I can do a mix. How do I want this to look? How do I want it to move and feel? And I'm still kind of deciding on that. I think what's going to win is whatever can emote the most without getting in the way of anything. If the design suddenly stops the character from doing things that I want it to do, like, I don't know, sit, stand to attention, I'm not even sure quite yet, then I'd probably change the design. And here I'm finishing off with just some, like, hooves again. I think I'm seeing, like, looking at how can I add that sort of third toe feel. But then I got to a point where I realized, now I might have to be looking at goats and cloven hooves, and I'm like, do I want to do that? I'm like, well, maybe, but I don't really have enough paper or time, so that's going to have to be something that comes about another day. And then I decided to fill in the gaps with just some nice little sort of gestury drawings, just kind of have some fun, draw some of the poses that I'd kind of seen or were thinking of in my head, just to get a feel, get used to drawing an animal. And I think I've improved a lot since all these pages of various studies and stuff, but previous to this it looked pretty terrible compared to, like, these results. It's just, if you don't know how to draw something, you don't know how to draw something. And thankfully, if you're an artist, you can kind of teach yourself the gaps in your knowledge because you've already kind of learned how to draw some other stuff. Obviously, it takes time. I mean, I'm nothing compared to the people that dedicate themselves to being an animal artist, but I've got some basis and some other drawing techniques that just kind of help me learn. And I just find drawing gestures of things is a good way to start up and a good way to wind down, and just kind of, it's fun because it's scratchy enough. It can be a lot of things, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just little ideas, little poses of me trying to capture the how a hippogriff flies, how a hippogriff might lie down, how they might rear up, just that sort of thing. Anyways, we're getting near the end here, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hope to see you in the next one. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. I really hate saying that, but I know that there's some people lurking there, and it'd be cool if you joined in on the conversation. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys a close-up of this page, and have a good day, and really hope to see you in the next episode. Things are going to get really exciting. If you like Griffins and Hippogriffs, definitely tune in.